you always know you wanted to be an author?
I always loved stories growing up, and I think when you read enough stories, suddenly you want to start making up your own. So even when I was little, I started creating my own, but it took me years and years before I could actually get them out on paper.
How did that first one happen for you?
It was in my late 20s. There was a lot of weird things going on in my life, and it was kind of an escape. You know, you kind of step back from the real world, and I just started living in this other world, and then it grew from a hobby to suddenly, over the next few years, my career.
What's your favorite part about being an author?
It's always something new. I can't do the same thing each day. It kind of would drive me crazy, and so being an author, there's always a new part of the story you're working on, and even the books change. You finish a book, you're moving on to a new book, and even now I'm moving on to new series and new projects, and so it's just really cool to always be doing that.
Is there anything you can tell us about it that we can look forward to?
In April is The Glittering Court, which is this big, sprawling, beautiful series that's set it's into this world that's inspired by colonial America, and there's these girls who are sent off for arranged marriages, but they end up taking control of their lives, and they go on these adventures, and there's pirates and spies and all sorts of things, and they do it while still looking fabulous and having adventures, and there's romance, but it's very empowering, and it's just a really fun series. It's 3 books, and it's the same timeline, and each book is told from a different girl's perspective, so it's that you could read any book on its own, and that would be totally fine, but by the time you've read 3 books, you'll have a full picture of the story. And what's kind of cool is, so you may read one book, and suppose just some random guy walks across the room, and it means nothing to that girl's story. But when you read another girl's book, you may find out, like, oh my gosh, that guy was a spy, and he was carrying a secret message. And so it's kind of interesting. You get a lot more pieces to it. And it was tricky for me to write, but hopefully it will be awesome for readers to have.
Whenever you do come up with a story, do you think of the characters first or the ending?
It's kind of a mix. No book ever just comes to me like in its entirety. It's little pieces. I'll like think of some cool kind of character trait in my head, and then maybe a piece of the world, and then suddenly I get enough pieces in my head that suddenly, oh look, there's a book, I've gathered enough, and they go from there.
Is there a message or a theme that you hope fans take away from your books or from you?
I'm really big on girl empowerment. That's kind of my thing. And a big thing with The Glittering Court is I feel sometimes whenever people look at a book that has romance in it, it gets like it's degrading, or people are like, oh, this is a weak book, or oh, you know, it's girly, and girly is looked at as a bad term, and it's like girls can't be strong unless they're carrying a gun and they're out there being violent, and I think that's a terrible message to send, especially in a world that's constantly coping with violence. I think it's important to show, like, girls can have lives and be strong, and you can have friendship, you can have romance, and so The Glittering Court is kind of there to break down these boundaries, because these are girls who are having adventures, taking control of their lives, and they do have romance, and they do have strong bonds with people they care about. Look fabulous the whole time, because you can have it all, and I think that's important for girls, especially teen girls, to know, you know, don't limit yourself to something in life. Look inside yourself and go with what feels right to you. I think we get very caught up in what we think society wants us to do, or not even, you know, society is a big thing. You know, what are our friends telling us, or what is school telling us? You know, we know in our hearts kind of what feels right. And if you love something, you know, look into that. That's where your heart is.